It is perfectly logical to assume that a wise and competent creator would provide for the needs of his creatures in their various stages of growth. The supply would be given as required, and as the necessary effort for its appropriation was made by the creature. Temporal needs would be met by temporal things, mental needs by things of like character, and spiritual needs by spiritual elements. For simplification of distribution, all would be composed of one primal spiritual substance, which under proper direction could be transformed into all products at will of the operator. This is a crude yet true illustration of the underlying principles in which the human family is supplied on this earth. The Father has provided a universal seed substance that responds with magical power to the active mind of man. Faith in the increasing capacity of this seed substance, whether wrapped in visible husks or latent in visible electrical units, always rewards man with the fruits of his labor. Farmer may seem to get his supply from the seeds he plants, but he would never plant a seed unless he had faith in its innate capacity to increase, and that the seed would never multiply without the quickening life of spirit. Thus we see that all increase of substance depends on the quickening of life of spirit. And this fact gives us the key to mental processes that when used spiritually will create increase and at the same time simplify our appropriation of the inexhaustible substance which creative mind has so generously provided. When we understand and adjust our mind to the realm where these rich ideas and their electrical thought forms exist, we shall experience in our own temporal affairs what is called prosperity. Let us explain that all creative processes involve a realm of ideas and a realm of patterns or expressions of those ideas. The patterns arrest or bottle up the free electric units that sustain the visible thing. Thus creation is in its processes a trinity, and back of the visible universe are both the original creative idea and the cosmic rays that crystallize into earthly things. When we understand this trinity in its various activities, we shall be able to reconcile the discoveries of modern science with the fundamentals of religion. Modern science teaches us that space is heavily charged with energies that would transform the earth if they could be controlled. Spiritual understanding says that the ether exists as an emanation of mind and should not be confused in its limitations with matter. Mathematical measurements applied to the ether work it out of existence because its reality is in the mind that has conceived it, and its being is governed and sustained by ideas, and ideas have no physical dimensions. So the ether will have existence and deposit matter only so long as the mind has use for it. When infinite mind has completed the cycles of creation, both the invisible and the visible universes will be rolled up as a scroll and disappear, and only mind will remain. What we need to realize above all else is that God has provided for the most minute needs of our daily life, and that if we lack anything, it is because we have not used our mind in making the right contact with the supermind and the cosmic ray that automatically flows from it. Divine mind is the one and only reality. When we incorporate the ideas that form this mind into our mind and preserve in those ideas, a mighty strength wells up within us. Then we have a foundation for the spiritual body, the body not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. When the spiritual body is established in consciousness, its strength and power is transmitted to the visible body and to all the things that we touch in the world about us. Spiritual discernment reveals that we are now in the dawn of a new era. The old methods of supply and support are fast passing away, and that the new methods are waiting to be brought forth. In the coming commerce, man will not be a slave to money. Humanity's daily needs will be met in ways that are not now thought practical. We shall serve for the joy of serving, and prosperity will flow to us and through us in streams of plenty. The supply and support that love and zeal will set in motion are not as yet largely used by man, but those who have tested their providing power are loud in their praise. The dynamic power of the supermind in man has been sporadically displayed by men and women of every nation. It is usually connected with some religious rite in which mystery and priestly authority prevail. The so-called common herd are kept in darkness with respect to the source of superhuman power of occult adepts and holy men. But we have seen a great light in the discovery by physical scientists that the atom conceals electronic energies whose mathematical arrangements determine the character of all the fundamental elements of nature. This discovery has disrupted the science based on the old mechanical atomic theory, but has also given metaphysicians a new understanding of the dynamics back of the spirit. Science now postulates space rather than matter as the source of life. It says that the very air is alive with dynamic forces that await man's grasp and utilization, and that these invisible, omnipresent energies possess potentialities far beyond our most exalted conception. What we have been taught about the glories of heaven pales into insignificance compared with the glories of the radiant rays, most often referred to as the ether. We are told by science that we have utilized very meagerly this mighty ocean of ether in producing from it the light and power of electricity. The seemingly tremendous force generated by the whirl of our dynamos is but a weak dribble from a universe of energy. The invisible waves that carry radio programs everywhere are but a mere hint of an intelligent power that penetrates and permeates every germ of life, visible and invisible. Scientific minds the world over have been tremendously moved by these revolutionary discoveries, and they have not found language adequate to explain their magnitude. Although a number of books have been written by scientists setting forth the far-reaching effects that will inevitably follow man's appropriation of the easily accessible ether, none has dared to tell the whole story. The fact is that the greatest discovery of all ages is that of physical science, that all things apparently have their source in the invisible and tangible ether. According to the Greek, the language in which the New Testament has come down to us, Jesus did not use the word heaven, but the word heavens in his teachings. He was not telling us of the glories of some faraway place called heaven, but was revealing the properties of the heavens all around us, called both space and ether by physicists. He taught not only its dynamics, but also its intelligent character, and said that the entity that rules it is within man. The kingdom of God is within you. He not only described this kingdom of the heavens in numerous parables, but made its attainment by man the greatest object of the human existence. He not only set this as man's goal, but attained it himself, thereby demonstrating that his teaching is practical as well as true. The scientists tell us that the ether is charged with electricity, magnetism, light rays, X-rays, cosmic rays, and other dynamic radiations. That is the source of all life: light, heat, energy, gravitation, attraction, repulsion. In short, that is the interpenetrating essence of everything that exists on Earth. In other words, science gives to the ether all the attractions of heaven without directly saying so. Science says that the electrical particles that break into light in our Earth's atmosphere are also a source of all substance and matter. When will our civilization begin really to appropriate and use this mighty ocean of substance and life spiritually as well as physically? This inexhaustible mind substance is available at all times and in all places to those who have learned to lay hold of it in consciousness. The simplest, shortest, and most direct way of doing this was explained when Jesus said, "Whosoever shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that what he saith cometh to pass, he shall have it." When we know that certain potent ideas exist in the invisible mind expressions, named by science both ether and space, and that we have been provided with the mind to lay hold of them, it is easy to put the law into action through thought and word and deed. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which taken at the flood, leads on to fortune, said Shakespeare. That flood tide awaits us in the cosmic space, the paradise of God. The spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time and responds to your faith in it and your demands on it. It is not affected by our ignorant talk of hard times, though we are affected because our thoughts and words govern our demonstration. The unfailing resource is always ready to give. It has no choice in the matter. It must give, for that is its nature. Pour your living words of faith into the omnipresent substance, and you will be prospered though all the banks in the world close their doors. Turn the great energy of your thinking toward plenty ideas, and you'll have plenty regardless of what men about you are saying or doing.